So Serge is a left-handed player, and being a left-handed player, he tends to have very, very dominant 5-bar passing and defense. His 3-bar is an average 3-bar, but he'll outnumber you in possessions.
Jeff, TX guy 1, answered his own question.
Right. James Castillo. So we all 2 to 5.
2 to 5. What a beautiful pass.
We haven't seen much of that at all. And Serge, like I said, he's a left-handed player. One of the things we went over with Serge is know you're going to get blocked. Just know why you got blocked when you got blocked, so you can bring it into the next possession.
We've got 2 lefties on the table. Thanks for the information.
Oh, great! I love that. Nice bow tie. Thank you. It's wooden. It's made out of wood, and it was a gift from Julian Wortman.
I feel like 2 left-handed players on the table means that we're going to see some great 5-bar in this segment.
Hopefully we see some 3-bar too.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because a great 5-bar without 3-bar is always
it's a long road.
right. We have the epic first point between Steve and Lyle, and Ruben.
Yeah, Steve is also a left-handed player.
Yeah, and that first ball was like 30 minutes long. So 2 lefties. Oh, he didn't catch his pass. Got to catch that one. Nice block by James Castillo. So James is a crafty player, very, very sneaky.
One thing that's probably not clear to the viewers, the ball that we're playing with on Tornado is slightly different than the ones that we play with in the U.S.
Tell me about it.
So they have an ITSF stamp on them, and they're slightly smaller than the ones in the U.S. And so when they wear down a little bit, they're more bouncy. There's some 3-bar.
He scored 1 point. He's turning around and screaming at the team.
But that's how it works. Like, you are so amped down there, you have no idea.
Oh man, just every single point. James doing his job back there, keeping it in his area. Oh. And I just said James doing his job back there. That's the ultimate commentator's curse.
Let's see if he gets his block.
He did get the block.
Good job, Sparky, keeping it out.
Super biased here, by the way.
I know. We're a bit biased too. We're not gonna lie. I mean, we're professionals. Big and burglar.
Good job.
Saying
Those guys are actively cheering for the German team. I had to leave the German language stream. Appreciate you. You know, I'm not going to actively cheer like Marion will, but what I will do is I will speak my unbiased opinion about what's happening on the table, and so far.
We're going to be a little bit happier with the American. Yeah, it hit the corner. It was a good shot.
We're
going to give the Germans props too when they do good stuff, though, for sure. See what Marc Stoffel had.
Great block by James. I love the idea of 2 left-handed players and watching the defense against each other.
What a nice pass.
And there's a clear strategy here. Send the ball across the table and let Serge have an opportunity to fight for it.
Yeah.
Try to get him extra possessions. Try to get him extra possessions.
I think one thing that we're going to see here in this doubles pairing specifically, so because James and Serge have played so much together, they have a chemistry that the other side of the table doesn't have.
Well, I will tell you this. James lived behind Keystone Arcade since childhood, and Serge was 2 years older than him. They've known each other and been playing with each other since the late 80s. So we're talking about...
And that's before Marc Stoffel was born.
Yes, before Marc Stoffel was born, they were stealing quarters from each other on the foosball table. So they've known each other for a long time. And that means it could be good or bad, by the way. That's not always a good thing, but it seems to be working right now up to this point.
I think it's going to give them an advantage in this particular doubles. That was a tight hole that I did not think was there.
Yeah.
And I don't know that he meant to cut it like that.
Wow, they're pretty fired up right now.
Yeah, I think you'd see, like, if Marc Stoffel was playing with Benny Struth, like, they would have that sort of chemistry too. But I think Max Hoyer is the better choice for the German team because he's a better tornado player than Benny is.
Max Hoyer's a stud. I've watched him play several times this weekend, and this guy is a powerhouse foosball player. I love his game. They're calling it a jar, and so it was probably a jar. He probably deserved it on his 3-bar.
Yeah, I was too busy listening to Marc and not paying attention to the game. But I think these refs are pretty good.
You know, the last time
trust them.
There's another beautiful 2 to the 5
Wow.
pass. They're like hive mind right now, like the Borg. And they're getting lucky too.
Fortuitous catch
When
there.
we saw Hervé play with Miguel, the father and son duo, we saw also a similar kind of team experience.
Yeah. Good
Great
block
block.
by Stoffel.
Now, you can't get too high on the highs and too low on the lows. It's a game of runs, and they could easily score 12 points. Hoyer and Stoffel could easily score 12 points and tighten this thing up, and it could be 20 to 16 with no advantage. But right now, they're chewing them up with the clears and the passes.
Yeah.
They're playing some of their best foosball right now.
Oh, nice.
He should focus. I mean, it's great. Stay fired up. No, don't get me wrong. But have some of that. Save some of that for the case you get. No, leave it all on the table.
No, leave it on the
Leave it
table.
on the
Exactly.
table, yeah.
And that they need that release because the tension, it's more tense than any other foosball you've ever played.
I can only imagine. It's tense for me, and I get near the pit area, and I feel stressed. So, but they're playing such great team play right now. James is keeping it in his area. He's getting the blocks. He's clearing, with the exception of one blunder that Max wasn't able to capitalize on. He's passing 2 to the 5. He's passing 2 to the 3. Almost caught that one, yeah.
On that one.
And now they decided, I guess at some point James decides to turn it off, and he almost had an opportunity to get that on his 5-bar. But Serge is a possession player because, like I said, his 3-bar is actually very average. It's very average for a pro, and so he needs the extra possessions. When his 5-bar is not there, he's almost useless. When his 5-bar is there, which is most of the time, he beats you by having extra possessions.
Yeah, it's a source of confidence, I would imagine.
Yeah. And he's like, I would like to see the stats, but right now he's doing a better job against Max in the 5-bar than Max is doing against him, clearly.
Oh, good
Defense. That's all going. It's all going. Win with defense. And they're building a lead here, and they're about to hand the baton to Tony Spredeman.
I know, right?
And that is brutal, man. You don't want to. That's like handing the baton. That's like handing the baton to Kevin Hunsdorfer with a 10-second lead and 5 feet to run.
Yeah.
It's a wicked, you know, let's just see how this goes.
I mean,
If there was a left-handed tournament, Tony would be the world champion.
Not even.
Unless Fred decided to
question.
play, and then he'd probably still be the world champion. But I'm saying, bar none, he'd be the world champion. And finally on the board, the Germans need to build off that and
That was a deep
get
full
some
side.
have a good feeling and try to hopefully take. If they want a chance, they got to take Serge and James off of their run here, where the confidence just is so high.
Yeah, they need to D up. Right on time.
Right on time.
Stoffel gets the block. Max Hett is saying, why did they play a different ball on World Cup than on the American Tour? It's because in order to get that ITSF certification, it has to be done in Europe, and it's just not worth the money. It's not worth the money for us to get balls shipped from Europe. And they're not that different, but they're different enough for pros. Like, we notice these differences.
Right. You guys would, especially someone like Tony or Todd. Notice, wow, another pass, another opportunity. These extra possessions, though, they eventually end up paying off. As long as they can keep the slop out, hopefully Marc here can give another lift to the team. another mental thing about foosball is time of possession. When the other team is just executing and feels like they're all over you, you start feeling like I'm not even touching the ball, and he gets further and further away.
Good block by Castillo.
Couple blocks here for Hoyer.
Nice 5. Defense.
Really smooth. He's got a great intuition for that pass. And got another one.
Yeah.
They're building
Like
that lead.
Dot. Oh no, that was long. Excuse me.
So 4 points away from sending this to Tony with an 11-point lead. And Max has not hit his stride. I've seen Max play, and he is a world-class player. And to whoever said it in the chat, he's not playing his best foosball right now. Great pickup by Max there. And hopefully he can turn this around and convert. But James with the block, and now it's in a dangerous spot. It's Serge with the ball in his 5-bar on Tornado. That he's missed that. He's dropped that pass a couple of times. And I don't know if that's an adjustment that needs to be made. Because I think 2 or 3 times that ball has come back from him on that wall pass. And you don't want to lose confidence in that pass because it's critical to the series. But just like that, wow, this is really good play from James Castillo. I just got to say, he's clearing the ball and getting Serge the possessions he needs.
Yeah. What a great grab by Max Hoyer.
Yeah. Quick to get out there, and he's going to need all these extra possessions to climb back into it. Also going to need to score some extra points on Tornado.
I think he did a smart thing there. He took more time. He walked it around to see how James would react.
James hasn't really gone for it yet, and he may not. It's been all passes from James. Almost I think 100% passing from James. Oh, maybe he shot a couple times after he felt like he was running out of time. But mostly the very clear strategy of clears. And here's another thing. If the other team is playing right now and they're not watching, no, they're not watching, they're going to need someone else to scout.
Yeah.
And so if I was scouting, I would say, I'm just going to look for all the passes and make James shoot on me.
Mm-hmm. Little do they know.
Yeah, little do they know that Sparky likes to shoot slingshots.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. Because Sparky is James' nickname. Slowed down a little bit. And this may favor Max if he can slow but he's got to execute. Max has got to execute. All right. Max caught that pass. It's really tough. Oh, Max got to go off that time. Yeah, here we go.
5-bar battle.
Yeah.
5-bar battle.
5-bar war, the lefties.
Ah, Hoyer won this round.
Yep.
See if he can connect.
James is just putting up the brick wall.
And the Germans have already used their timeout.
Yeah, that's a rough one. I mean, they did what they needed to do to get poised, and Max came back after that timeout and scored, which is a positive because you're scrapping for every single point.
Wow.
Defense again.
Defensive goal.
Man, I actually thought that was a German score. So now we should be it should be 17-9, I think. Yep, 17-9. 3 points away from sending this to Tony Sprideman, their fastest sprinter in the third leg of this relay race.
I'm sure Nico has been studying Tony. You know, I'm sure.
Well, there's enough footage.
Right.
You just Google Tony Sprideman.
He'll be, what's the word? Like studied up. Like he'll have the knowledge, I think.
I bet all the players hate that tornado ball. I bet you all the players hit that tornado ball.
I think they need to switch out for a new one.
Jeez.
It gets slicker faster, and it feels smaller when it's that slick, and it bounces up more too.
Oh, Serge lost the pass back to Max, and Max lost the pass, the recovery back. It's just all going their way right now.
Yeah. I mean, for those of you watching, you have the right to request a new ball at any time in any match. And I feel like someone, well, maybe the Americans don't want it because it's working in their favor.
Right.
I feel like the Germans should be asking for a new ball, though.
Max, his chance. Tighten up that score a little bit. Can he get to 10 points? They're out of timeouts, and he took his time. That's a poised thing to do, is get down to like 13 seconds and take the shot.
Yeah, I think he's generally scored better on Leo. It is a bigger goal, too, and he's used to seeing it. And on Tornado, it probably feels so small. Like that goal, because the guys are wider, it feels like a smaller goal. Especially like when you're doing this multi-table back and forth, you go from looking at these, wide holes on Leo, and then going to Tornado, it's much tinier. You have to be more precise.
And they got one.
Yeah,
and good for them.
2 in a row.
Get a little bit of table love here.
Felix is not on the national team, so it's not Thomas and Felix, it's Thomas and Marvin Velasco. So Thomas, Marvin, and Felix were all juniors together, and Marvin Velasco is a fantastic forward. He's won this competition in doubles before with Jorg Harms. So I think he's a great choice to be the closing forward.
Oh my God, they're getting every single break.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
It looked like he had his guy back too, but again, smaller ball.
Yeah, what a brutal break that was.
Yeah,
and he's
looks deflated.
He's getting the brush. He got the brush down. He's been beating Serge with that really nice brush down pass. James, though, has been giving him such a difficult time. And, let's see if James wants to play hero ball and put the ball away.
I think he's going to pass.
No, he shot.
I was wrong. I should have trusted you because you've known him for so long.
Yeah, well, so, the passes are setting up the shots.
Yeah, that's true.
And you got a clear feed there. Serge with the chance to put it away. They still have their timeout left. I wouldn't take it here.
No.
I just think that there's too much of a gap to waste it. You never know what can happen.
Yeah.
James with a big block. I think James going to go for it again. Yeah,
that
that's
was beautiful.
That's it. And I don't think they know that. So they shake hands, you guys, for crying out loud. Shake hands.
Oh, there they go.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
because it's not the end of the match, it's kind of, you shake at the end.
Kind of awkward. Yeah.
Yeah, it is awkward.
So, hey, Serge and James just played a very high percentage style of play that took that lead and expanded it quite a bit. We're going to take a look here and see what happens. Yeah, that's right. I told Sparky, don't hug anybody.